let's try the next one, b. So we're going to have x plus 2 into, and make sure everything's written in descending order, which it is in this case. Okay, so to do this, sometimes it's helpful to write these as ones. We need something. We have two terms here, so I'm looking at the first two terms, which means I'm going to write my answer there at the end of the second term. Again, because there's a term here and a term here. Terms are separated by plus and minus signs. And so I'm looking at the second term right there. That's where I'm going to be writing my answer. Whoops. So let's take a look at this. I need to get a 1x cubed, and I've got a 1x. So I'm going to write a 1x squared. Because when I multiply that times that, I'll get a 1x cubed. You also know you've written in the same spot because there's an x squared and there should be an x squared above. So everything should be right above each other. Okay, so let's write that. 1x squared times 1x is a 1x cubed. Beautiful. If I subtract that, it'll be 0. And then that is going to be 1 times 2 is just a positive 2x squared. And I can subtract it. So I've got 1 minus 1x cubed, gone. Negative 4 minus 2 is a negative 6x squared. And I can bring this down, minus 9x. So now I need to get a negative 6x squared. And I've got a 1x. So if I'm going to get a negative 6, I'm going to put a negative 6. And I'll have to put an x to get negative 6x squared. And it works. You'll know what to put in because there's an x here, so it has to be an x there. So that is going to be a negative 6x squared and then a minus 12x. And I can subtract it. So what do I have here? Negative 6 plus 6. Okay, that's gone. And then negative 9 plus 12. Negative 9 plus 12 is a plus 3x. And I can bring this down. So now I need a negative 3x, so I'm going to put a negative 3, because when I multiply it by that, I'll get the negative 3x. No, I don't want negative 3, I want positive 3. I want to have the exact same number. So positive 3 times that is just a positive 3x, and then 3 times 2 is a positive 6. And then I can subtract it. 3 minus 3 is gone. And negative 18 minus 6 is a negative 24. So that's how you do it. Keep in mind that if this is x squared, that's an x squared. Here's an x, there's an x. You don't even really need to know. You can just copy it down. This has no x's, so I'm going to make no x's. All I really had to do was just choose the number. I needed a 3, so I chose a 3. I needed a negative 6, so I chose a negative 6. I needed a 1, so I chose a 1. And then the x squared, x, and none, that you can easily just transfer that up. So that's one example there. And let's try another one. Well, actually, before that, I should probably just write down what the answer is. So therefore, I've got a x squared minus 6x plus 3. Plus, I've got a remainder of a negative 24 over, what am I dividing by? An x plus 2. An x plus 2. And that plus doesn't need to be there. You can just do a subtraction. Plus minus, you can just put a minus. And so that would be my final answer. All right, let's do another one. Okay, x minus 4 into a 2x cubed minus 8x squared plus 6x minus 1. And because I'm looking at two terms, I'm going to look at the first two terms. So I'm looking at this column and the end of the second column. And I'm just thinking on the spot here, because I'm in the x squared column, I'm looking at the first two, so I'm going to look at the second one there. I'm going to put an x squared there. I'm going to put an x. I already know that's going to be the case. Okay, so let's see here. This is a 1, so I'll write a 1. So I need to get a 2x cubed. So if I make a 2, 2x squared times 1x is going to be a 2x cubed. And 2x squared times negative 4 is a negative 8x squared. So I can subtract that. 2 minus 2 is gone. Negative 8 plus 8 is gone. So that's just a 0. There's nothing left over. So when you bring down this, you get a 6x. You need to have two terms. You also need to bring down the minus 1. So this is a very strange one where you need to bring down two things because you've eliminated everything. So you need to bring down both. When that happens, I think we did an example here where we brought down the 1, we got an 11, which was impossible. 12 couldn't go into 11. So we just added a 0 here. You put a 0, and then you start over here. You start with the next one. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I can't go 1x into 6, 1x minus 4 into here because it's only one term. So I'm going to make this a 0 and just make it both. Use both of these now. So how many times 1x and goes into here? I'm going to make this a 6 because when I multiply this, 6 times 1x is a 6x and 6 times negative 4 is a minus 24, and I can subtract them. 6 minus 6 is gone. Negative 1 plus 24 is going to be 23. So that one was really odd in that when you brought down the 6x, or sorry, when you brought the 2 in here, you eliminated the first term. Kind of by accident, we also eliminated the second. In which case, if that ever happens, if you eliminate both of them, you basically then are forced to bring down 2 instead of just the normal 1. And when that happens, when you have to bring down 2, you're now looking at the right-hand term. That's looking at the right-hand side. So you're looking at this thing, meaning the middle term must be 0. We're going to have to include a 0 there. So keep that in mind. This is very tricky. Not tricky, but this is kind of sneaky. It's a little bit different than the other ones. My answer is going to be 2x squared. I don't have to write the 0x. I can just go plus 6. And there's a remainder of 23 over x minus 4. I think that's what I was dividing by. X minus 4. Yeah. So I'll zoom out here in case you need to take a look at both of these. And the next video we will look at the next questions.